hot sauce in my bag, swag.
So, Top Boy, season 3, also technically season 5 if you watch the Summer House version on Channel 4. This is not a hot take. This is the same take as everybody else's. This season was shit. Hate is a strong word, but is it altogether inaccurate? I don't know. Nah, maybe not hate, but I strongly disliked it. I strongly disliked this season. It was a terrible way to end one of the best TV shows that we've been blessed with in the UK, in my opinion. There was a reason why everybody was so excited about Top Boy's return onto Netflix. Because they set the bar so high in season 3, aka season 1 on Netflix, these last 2 seasons, honestly, were a disappointment for me. Season 2, it wasn't anywhere near as good as the first one. I was still interested enough because I like seeing the story play out with the new connects. And I thought it was really interesting that they went to Morocco for this one. So that to me was still interesting enough that it almost didn't really kick in, that it was a little bit of a disappointment compared to the first season until my rewatch, because then you get the exciting ending with Jamie dying as well. So when I look back on it, I was like, oh, you know what? It wasn't given like season 1 was given, but you know what? We go again. And obviously it being the final season, you have your hopes so high. This is the time to get explosive now because it's the final season. Anything can happen, you know? I for the life of me, don't understand what the issue was, but my guess as a viewer from watching it, they just didn't give a fuck about the show anymore. They just weren't invested. The people that were behind the writing and the producing, they just didn't care. And I listened to the entire episode of Ashley Walters on The Diary of a CEO, and he mentioned that him and Kano particularly pushed a lot for certain things this season. They push every season, apparently. That doesn't surprise me. But for whatever reason, this season, they got a lot of pushback. They got a lot of resistance. And I don't know if anybody saw this, but last year there was an article written about Kano storming off the set on Top Boy because he had an issue with something that they'd written in the script, some big storyline. And when I watched this and when I thought about what Ashley said on The Diary of a CEO, I was like, I wonder if they left whatever it was in or whether they ended up having to change it to get him back on set. Like, I just thought it was mainly just rushed. That was my critique. It felt like everything that we saw only had the intention to tie things up with a neat little bow and move on to the next thing. Nothing had any life in it. The storylines didn't breathe enough. Like, it just wasn't enough. Like, firstly, the Connect storyline. I literally just said in the last season, even though it wasn't as good, the reason why I enjoyed it so much is because you get that theme that you usually get with a new season where we got a new connect, a new background, usually a different culture, and we kind of learn more about them and the way they work and what their country's like, what dealing drugs in their country's like. That's what I really liked about the second season. Obviously in the first season you get it with Lizzie and her man, so I guess we got the Irish again. But with these Irish dons, I really didn't like, it's so unlike Top Boy to have characters like that introduced and then kill them off in the episode. Sorry, spoiler alert, in case it wasn't obvious, I'm going to be releasing spoilers. But it's so strange that they put such emphasis on those characters and their introduction. Like, they fucking introduced them with heads in a box, for God's sake. Like, and then they get killed off so quickly and so easily in the second episode in that nursing home. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And I really hope Auntie got her retirement fund, by the way, because the way she was sweating, I felt so, my anxiety was doing a lot on her behalf. So I really hope sis got her retirement fund. But that's neither here nor there. Shelley and her 9 nail shops. Shelley really pissed me off this season. Firstly, I've said from the beginning, not from the beginning, because the first season was okay, but from the second season, I have said Shelley and Duchesne literally have no chemistry. Nothing between them. They're brethrens at best. I don't know if it's Lil Sims acting because I believe her as a character. Do you know what I mean? It's just her relationship with Duchesne that's like, no, like mismatched. Anyway, her 9 nail shops. Babe, Duchesne was right in nearly everything he said to her. And that pissed me off because I don't even like Duchesne. But I agreed with him when he said you're going from 1 nail shop to 9. Like, that's a huge change. Like, and it was a lot of money she was asking for. But anyway, she's satisfied with the fact that her man's a drug dealer now. All of a sudden, he comes back without the money. And then it's like, oh, you're bloody. Oh, no, I can't do this. I can't worry about when you're coming back bloody and there's that packing her shit. Babe, stop it. Stop. You're being a bird. Like, you're acting like you're not a bird, but quack, quack, you're a bird. Like, again, I agree with Duchesne. If he came back with that 2.1 mil, you would be staying, and you know it. So don't even talk about, oh, me and my daughter, we can't live here. Don't even try it. You didn't care about your daughter until then. Okay? You were happy to risk you and your daughter's life for some 2.1 M's before. So what happened? What changed? She even knew the bitch's name. She knew Liza's name and everything. So you knew in detail what this man was about. So I just thought it was really funny with the way she had to just run away. Like, she didn't know what that nigga was into. But anyway, speaking of which, Live and Lizzie running with the M's, that was interesting. How can they get away like that? I did not see that coming. I thought it would end with them catching them. I thought the whole season was probably going to be the chase, but at the end, some mad shit goes down between all of them. That's what I was expecting. So the fact that they really disappeared with those 16 M's and all their ops are dead. So basically, you lot really took us through this amount of history and years with Top Boy just to end it on white bitches be winning. Because that's the message I got from the show. Look at all the black women around, stressing. Jax lost her sister to drugs. Mandy, stressing. Who was the black woman on that show? Kieran's mum, stressing. All of them, nothing but strife. But the white women, the thieves, get to win. You lot fucked up. Fucked up. How could they be the only ones with a happy ending? Isn't that crazy to everybody else? Anyway, let's move on. Duchesne killing, what's his name? Is that guy's name Jeffrey? That was the dumbest thing they could have written in Top Boy. Are you really telling me that Duchesne, crime boss, Top Boy, has got this far in doing the dirt that he does, and he's gonna kill a guy like that with his bare hands and not clean up the crime scene properly? This is the laziest script writing I have ever fucking seen. It's not even the fact that he didn't even clean it up. He cleaned, but not properly. He wiped the kitchen top and left the body there. What? Why are you bothering to get bleach out for anything if you're still gonna leave the body there and leave fingernails all over the door and all that shit? Like, come on, I don't care how angry that nigga was. He's killed people in cold blood before when he's angry. And he still cleaned up the crime scene. So how do you explain now? Like, oh my God. I really thought that Duchesne was going to die of a heart attack. That's what I thought. Because then I was like, so what's the point of all these heart issues then? What the fuck does that mean? We never even got a diagnosis. Like, so much stuff that they just threw at us and didn't ever expound on. What I will say is that I love the first episode. Kieran almost getting deported and then him being let go eventually. I really loved that episode. Obviously, it brought to forefront the issues that we're having within our government in the UK now, where they're deporting a lot of boys that have grown up here, are UK citizens, but they were brought into the country when they were very young, when they were a baby or when they were toddlers, when it was still legal to bring children in or infants in without a passport back then. So technically, they are here legally. I loved how it ended. Obviously, in real life, it wouldn't have went down like that. I was watching it like, this is beautiful. This is so nice. I love how it ended like this. But in real life, they would just got the dogs on, y'all. Yeah, they would have said, oh, you niggas up, out here. But I did really like that episode. And I liked Kieran this season as well. I loved how loyal he was to Jack. I hated it ending like that. Sucks to be him because, when that episode came around, I was like, he should have just gone back home. Because it would have sucked, but at least he would have still been alive. I'm sure providing his mum got better as well, she would just end up joining him out there. And that would have been cool. Like, you know, they would have had a nice life away from Rose, away from the ends, in the sun. Boy, that's a way happier ending than what happened to Kieran. Aaron, in Leeds, you're selfish prick. How can your brother die and you fuck off to Leeds? And this is what pisses me off about it. It's the fact that you are only doing a marketing degree in university there. Or has he graduated from uni there and he's just working in marketing now? Do not piss me off. You can do that at so many fucking places in London. There is nothing, marketing-wise, that you can get in Leeds that you cannot get in London. So the fact that he wasn't even around his young junior brother to help, and you know what? Even if you are there, take a train up every once in a while. A fucking phone call. We didn't even get a phone call. Crazy. He ain't shit. But yeah, I hated that for Steph. I don't remember his name, but the boy that plays Steph, I think he's such a great actor. I think he could do really, really big things from here because I think that he has, like, it's not the easiest thing to convey everything you need to in expression because he actually didn't have that many lines outside of his scenes with Erin. He really didn't have that many lines this season, if you really think about it, but he conveyed a lot in his body language and his face. And I think that that's not as easy as people think it is. So I think that, you know, that kid is going places. So I'm definitely excited to see what happens from him going forward. And that scene with Sully at the end was perfect. Like, I think he acted that perfectly. And to be honest, he's always been pretty good in the show. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he'll do next. But yeah, him and Erin, their scenes were cute. Like, their storyline was really cute, but it was essentially a waste of time. Like, I feel like we've come so far to introduce new characters now in that way. Like, you didn't even show us that much of her when Driss was around. So I don't really get now, just because her mum is a bit more of a main character and a bit more centered this season, I don't think we need to get her Ute as well, personally. But Erin was cute, though. I liked her. I really liked how she was so, like, mature and responsible for her age. Like, I really liked that. It was really, like, it was definitely given, like, oh, your mum raised you well kind of thing. But yeah, like, it was cute, but a waste of time. Like, you could have fit in so much more stuff that you missed out with that space. I'm just saying, like, when people were saying that Renelle should have come and stuff like that, I agree. Like, they were missing a huge moment from this season, that a full circle moment, you know, like anyone that watches Snowfall, the last episode where it all comes full circle, they were missing those moments, and it could have been so good. Even if the season was as shit as it was and they did that in the last episode, it would have still been enough to give people satisfaction from the last season, you know? So I don't understand what they were doing this season. I really don't. It's 6 episodes as well, like, just all in a blink of an eye. The fuck, the last season. Oh, so many things about this piss me off. Oh, let's move on to Lauren, though, because what happened to her was such a shock. Not necessarily that she was on drugs. I didn't see that for Lauren, but in the beginning of the way the season started, you could tell, like, and I do like that they did this, the fact that the problems didn't all just go away simply because they killed the monster, you know? Like, those things still linger. I actually really like that they made that choice with the script, because it really shows how impactful it is when somebody abuses you to that point. I mean, we assume that man was putting hands on her. I don't believe that the way he was, he didn't ever. But it was mainly emotional and mental abuse. And I think that in doing that, it just shows how much of an impact somebody fucking with you like that has on you, that even though they're dead and you literally know they can't hurt you any longer, they still feel like a threat to you. I like that. And, you know, in the aftermath of that, Lauren was very depressed, didn't feel any kind of connection to the baby, emotional connection. Like, they could have played with this storyline so long. Sorry, as I bring up these things, I'm gonna get more annoyed, because they could have done so much with that storyline with Lauren and her lack of emotional connection to the baby. She didn't even name that baby yet. She came up to the last point. I don't know how long they give you to name a baby, but she was literally like the day before or something, like, this you needs a name. That is so I've never heard of such. I've never heard of a mother having a baby for such a long period of time and not naming it, you know? So that just really showed how detached she was from the baby, and it was because of the trauma that Curtis put on her, the father. Even her in the beginning saying, don't you think she looks like him? Or he looks like him. And Jack was like, no, like, Jack was obviously just being an avoidant the whole time. And Lauren was really like, she couldn't avoid the problem. Like, it was staring her in the face, hence why she had to run to drugs. I'm not gonna lie, crack is crazy for your first drug. Like, obviously she probably smoked a little weed now and then, but, like, you know, to literally not really be someone that dabbles in drugs at all, as far as we've known you, and then to just do crack, insane. Like, not coke first, not MDMA, like, Jerry, like, who just goes to crack directly? Like, so that was a little bit insane to me. But yeah, it just shows how deep rooted the trauma was. But what I will say, though, is that when I saw that transpiring, I predicted that she would just be a crackhead. Like, it would kind of be a BMF situation where she'd end up on the streets talking to herself like Lamar, you know? But her dying in episode 2, didn't expect that. I was very shocked at that, especially since Lauren has been one of those kind of side recurring characters, but that's given us such a lot. She's had main themes in every season so far, like with the new season. So I didn't expect them killing her off so quickly. And then Jack being so traumatized on the back of that, and taking the food like she did from Sully. I understood that, even though it really didn't make any sense. I did understand her mindset in doing that, because, you know, Lauren died. She was obviously grieving, and then she saw that that crackhead that they usually sell stuff to, and that she went to her house and saw the baby. The fact that her baby was dirty, she hadn't washed it in days by the looks of it, it was on the floor. Literally, this mum didn't give a fuck about anything else but the pipe, you know? What they done to the estate, what they done to people's lives, what they done to the lives of so many children that were their responsibility. And what I will say is that if we're gonna put out the belief and the phenomenon that everyone is responsible for their own actions, which is the case, then we can't put all the blame on the drug dealers, because at the end of the day, they don't make anybody do anything. They're putting out a product where there's already a demand for that product. So these people would get high off of something if they weren't selling the drugs. They will buy from somebody else if it wasn't them, you know? And I know that to some people that might sound like, ugh, but like, it is the case, that is the truth. However, there is definitely something in you as a person that you know that you directly, in putting out this product, has resulted in this, and feel no way about it. Like, if we're being real, those type of drug dealers are psychopaths. If we're being real, really real, that there has to be a little bit of a psychopathy element in your mind to be able to do that type of thing and feel okay, you know, that be out in the street and just feel no way about it and keep doing it. I understand why that needed to happen, because there needed to be there needed to be one character that felt a little bit bad about what they were doing at the end. So I got what they were trying to do with Jack, but I just kind of wish she just took the money and went. Like, I was a bit confused as to why she took them. Like, what are you going to do with the drugs if you don't want to sell them anymore? Girl, like, that was literally an emotional reaction. It made no sense. Like, it was literally just Jack panicking, feeling some type of way. The grief was moving her along. Like, because there was no plan. There was no end goal. Like, it made no sense. And it was just such a stupid way for Jack to get wrapped up and get in a situation. Like, I felt like they could have written something cleverer than that, but I did understand if we're going off of the grief and the emotion, I get it makes sense. Firstly, Dushane is a clown. How are you gonna not even try to ask that man for some money? You really don't know that he'll say no. He might, but at least you'd have tried. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand why stealing his drugs was the only plan he had in his mind. There was nobody you could have asked for money. Also, what are Jack and them man doing with their money? I'm just confused, because other than Dushane, it doesn't look like anybody's actually putting this money to any use. What is the point in ruining the lives of so many around your community and never feeling like you're safe or away from paranoia if you don't even have the money to show for it? Like, anyway. Back to the topic at hand, the end. So Dushane, him getting shot like that was so funny to me. Like, the way Sully shot him, they were both shocked. Like, they were both looking at each other, like they were both having the same facial expression, like, the fuck? Like, you don't know what a bullet does. Like, it was so funny to me. And I actually quite liked that scene. I felt like it could have been a little bit more like, I feel like they could have had a little bit more talk about how they were boys, because it's so funny how it rarely comes up that Sully and Dushane actually grew up together. Like, it comes up a bit, but I feel like it's easy to forget because they've only referenced it like maybe 2 or 3 times in the entire series, you know? And I felt like the last scene, unless I missed it, I could have missed it because I was so busy laughing at the two of them. But that was a point to be like, you know, talk about something in school, or like, you know, something like that represents how long this friendship has been, you know, and how we've really gotten to this point where one of you has killed the other one, you know, just highlight the drama of that. Like, I just felt like that was missing a little bit, but I did like the fact that it ended that way, because that's what I predicted, that one of them would kill the other, and it was probably going to be Sully and Dushane. Sully killing Dushane, and them kind of having this dramatic speech as one of them's bleeding out. Like, that's exactly what I pictured. I just think it could have been executed better. You lot should have hired me, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But the end, the final part, I don't even have an insult venomous enough for you lot. You are really going to end Top Boy like that. That Sully just got one in the neck. Sully, randomly, in broad daylight, near a kid's school. He's really not watching his surroundings to that extent in that scenario. And he got killed by who exactly? Like, it looked like Jack. I think it was Jack. But we don't fucking know that. Oh, I was so irritated. When it ended like that, I was so fuming. Oh, you know what? I bet that's why Kano walked off set. I think I answered my own question earlier. He definitely walked off set for that reason. I fucking would have. How dare you end it like that? I'm so mad. You could tell Asher D and Kano have a problem with this Ronan guy who wrote the series. That's what it was given. It was given, fuck this white man who didn't write the story in the way it should have been. Like, to be fair, what I will say is that originally, I didn't think there was an issue writing wise. Like, the original Top Boy, I thought was fine. To me, it does look a little bit alarming, this much gun crime in London. We do have gun crime, obviously, but there are some times that I watch it and I think, I feel like you guys are Americanizing it just a little bit because we're a knife country. We're not.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.